Hello, and welcome to the Franchise Connection, where I annoy Matt by screaming hardcore! I'm Matt Fisher.
I'm Matt Sparrock.
And today we're discussing Adult Swim's latest anime series, Lazarus, created by Shinichiro Watanabe. Lazarus looks at a world where a miracle new drug called Hapna can eliminate any and all pain. However, this paradise turns into a hell when Hapna's inventor, Dr. Deniz Skinner, reveals to the world that this drug will soon mutate and kill all its users in 30 days. So begins the end of the world. Yet Skinner offers a way out of this terrifying predicament. If anyone can find him within 30 days, he will give him the cure to reverse Hapna's effects. Enter Lazarus, a team composed of criminals assigned with finding Skinner and acquiring this cure. As Lazarus looks all over the world for Skinner, they'll leave no stone unturned as they race against the clock to save humanity from extinction. Alright, Matt, so this was the first animated series too that we reviewed. Which was fun. But overall, what do you think of the show?
Disappointing.
Alright.
Mostly due to the pedigree of the people making the show.
Now, Watanabe created
Cowboy Bebop, Samurai Champloo.
And you've seen Cowboy Bebop?
I've seen the entirety of Cowboy Bebop. I love it. I've seen almost all of Samurai Champloo. I love that. I even liked one of his more recent ones, Carol and Tuesday. That was a Netflix series.
Okay, I missed that one. What about this was different than the other ones?
Well, they were billing it as, it's going to be a return of the people who made Cowboy Bebop. We're going to bring back we're basically bringing back the crew. All the voice actors were from Cowboy Bebop.
Oh, I didn't know that. It takes place in the same universe. I read that.
It takes place in the same universe, and they were also saying something along the lines of, they would have brought back the person who was in charge of the music for Cowboy Bebop, but she passed away.
Oh, so that's why it sounded a bit close enough, but not exactly the same.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I noticed that because I watched...
And that is why he brought in the musical influences and tried to, as an homage to his friend.
Yeah, because I watched. I told you I watched maybe the first 1 or 2 episodes of Cowboy Bebop. I liked this. He's just lost track of time with it. And then the movie, and that was one thing that stood out, was just how well the action and the music kind of speak to each other. Like the feel and the flow of the jazz is very on par with or in sync with the action going on. So you have 2 different rhythms going on, and it makes it a really fun viewing experience.
Yeah.
So in terms of this show, where did it meet the mark? Where didn't it meet the mark?
I like the action scenes. I don't think the story was nearly as tight as something like Cowboy Bebop.
Okay.
I feel like, yes, Cowboy Bebop is very much mission of the week up to a point.
But the characters grow with each mission.
They grow with each mission, but there's a bigger overarching thing going on.
Whereas this one, you got the goal of the show, which is we gotta find the cure for Hapna, and so we can save the world.
Right.
Basically, everybody on the planet except
for a few people are gonna die.
Yeah.
And what I feel like the action was good. The story, I felt it had way too many. It feels like he had too many ideas. And he didn't flesh out those ideas enough.
There's one thing in particular when we talk more about it. I'll bring it up. Yeah, overall, something I've been teasing you about when it came to me kind of summarizing the show for you is that I feel like this was it was an okay show, but it could have been a great movie. I feel like this plot worked better as a movie. The characters and the action and the places they go would have been better in
a tighter story.
Yeah, some moments, I was going through my notes, and I'm like, what happened this episode? Oh, that's all that really happened this episode. Well, that could have been condensed to two scenes or a scene and a half in a movie. And
it felt like
the flow got affected by it. I feel like... Yeah, you go ahead.
I feel like the action scenes took up 90% of the runtime.
It's funny because there's some episodes where there wasn't as much action in it either. I expected action constantly, and for the most part there was, but there were episodes where
there's not much happening. It was mostly people talking in rooms.
Yeah.
But as I was saying, still, you could, if you look at most of the runtime, it was action scenes.
And I give a lot of credit to because the action was
Chad
supervised.
Stahelski.
Yeah.
Of John Wick fame.
Yeah. And what I thought was really cool about the action was it really felt it felt alive. It felt very fluid, almost like a rotoscope type feel. When they fought, like, there were like at least 2 or 3 actions that were like, oh, those were knockout. They feel like they were live action. And one was when one of the characters, Axel, escaped from prison. That felt like
that was a really awesome.
There was a fight on a highway between him and this assassin. That was really cool, really well done. It felt like John Wick. Yeah, I mean, it was something kind of cool because you really don't see a lot of stuntmen helping to choreograph anime. Usually anime is just the animators and the directors find the flow, but they want to fight. So to make it very realistic was very cool. Okay, I asked you. Overall, yeah, so I thought the show was fun. Like I said, I feel like if this was a 2.5 hour movie,
it would have been a better story.
Yeah. The show, sometimes they dragged out what could have been a few scenes into a whole episode. It's 24 minutes. And sometimes it was needed, like when they're trying to lure out Skinner or any such as they make like a fake cure.
Yeah.
And they're trying to lure
that was a really cool episode.
that worked as an episode. But then there's episodes like one I was going through my notes was one character, and by the way, I always forget to say spoilers. We're going to talk spoilers throughout this episode. Who goes on, who testifies in front of a committee, and he's been like spying on the government, for the government on the Team Lazarus. And I looked at my notes. I'm like, oh, so that happened, and then the military and this one, I guess, it was
the military and the guy who was
not contractor.
He was the guy who ran the INSCOM.
Yeah,
they hired the
he's like a military contractor or something like, he's not a politician. Then they hire assassin, and I'm like, oh, and then they kind of have an action at the end. But I'm like, that was the whole episode. Like, that didn't feel like there was much to it. The other thing was there's some episodes, and I'll bring them up, that I felt like really highlighted how much better the show could have been. For the most part, like, because those episodes show the team actually coming together, or there were episodes where the leads they were following fleshed out more of the character's backstory. And something I kind of wanted more of was every time they followed the lead, it kind of connected or brought out something of the other characters that could give us a better understanding and a relatability or to empathize with them. So we kind of go, oh, as we're seeing this, it's bringing back memories. Because, I mean, the whole show is everybody's dying. There's a doomsday clock ticking on the whole of humanity. And they're reflecting on their lives and what it means and why, working together is what they need to do. So for the first half of it, I feel like we didn't get that. We just kind of got that thing we see all the time where, like, and it makes sense. It needs to happen. The characters are fighting with each other. They're not really getting along. Like, the scene where Chris is a female criminal that's hired to Lazarus. I guess we said what the team is, to be honest.
So there's Axel, who is a guy who loves escaping from prisons.
He reminded me of Birdman, the guy who escaped from Alcatraz.
There's Chris, who
has a shadowy...
The femme fatale who has a shadowy past. Yeah. There's Doug, who's a really smart ex-college professor.
Was he?
He was a college...
aspiring scientist.
I
like Doug, but like I wish they kind of did more with this character because we didn't know too much about him except for one scene. Go ahead.
There was Elena, who was the hacker, and then there was Leland, who we learn more about as the show goes.
And in addition to that, there's also Hirsch, who's the mysterious government.
They're basically their boss.
Yeah, the boss who brought the team together. And I do like how they built up her character.
Yeah, I do like... There's certain things I like about the show. Mm-hmm. Even though I saw the twist coming from probably a mile away, I liked the reason why the team was brought together.
Yes, but do you want to talk about that now or do you want to save it for later?
Well, I'm just saying in general, I liked the idea that they all had something in common that brought that was a catalyst for them being like, well, this would be a good team.
Yeah. I have some questions about some of the timeline of that team forming. Yeah. So there's a part I was saying before now that we've said what the team was. For the most part, we're not going to be talking about the show episode by episode. We talked about this, and we realized that maybe just talking about the show overall and giving our general thoughts about it.
Yeah.
Would be a lot easier, because otherwise...
It'll go on forever.
It'll go really long, and you're probably tired from the Star Trek episode after listening to that. But going back to what I was saying, like, there's a part where Chris, like, kicks Axel out of the car because they're going to a bunker in Arizona, and she's like, you have 888 years of a sentence on your prison time.
You don't just get that for murder?
Yeah, you're like a Leatherface. He goes, no. He goes, I just kept escaping, and they kept, putting more time on my sentence. So we got a lot of that. We got a lot of the team, like, really not trusting each other. And I'm glad to say, like, they came apart where it was episode 7. It's called Almost Blue. And that's when they discover through, at one point well, I'm kind of skipping ahead. But
doesn't matter.
I'm bringing up this episode because they're all going to separate locations. Basically, they discovered that Skinner years ago bought land that has now been is now underwater, and they're wondering why these specific islands in the middle of nowhere now, and
why did he buy all of these islands?
And as they're investigating, they're kind of reflecting on things. Like Chris, especially, like she's looking at the water and going, like, look at the beauty of the world. Maybe there's a reason why Skinner did this, because he's trying to preserve this. Because we also learned that Skinner was like very.
He was an environmentalist to the extreme.
Well, yes, but like he was more like he called himself the Southern Trumpeter, which makes sense because he was like warning people like this is going to happen. And later on in the show, we do find out that like he warned about the Arctic ice melting and the last.
And he was right.
Yeah, and I like this episode because there's a part where. Also, I'm skipping around, and I'll be skipping around a lot, so it'll be very weird listening to this, I'm sure. But Axel takes one transportation to the island, Doug another, Chris another, and Leland another. And there's a part Leland I like because he like has to buy a whole cruise ship for himself.
Hey, no,
it's funny. It's funny because now he's trying to explain it. He says, like, hey, after all this is over, like, what happens? Like, where do we go? And you get the sense that, oh, now we have one character who's actually formed a bond with all these other characters.
Yeah.
And you see that grow in the next episode where Chris...
gets captured.
We discover her backstory, and the team has to choose between saving her or continuing to try to save the world. And I like that they put her in front of that because it showed that this team is finally working together. And that's... finally, like, the glue that like holds them together throughout the rest of the show, and they start working a lot better that way.
Yeah.
Additionally, in the episode previously, it was episode 6
when you get Elena's backstory.
Yeah, the title of that one was "Heaven is a Place on Earth." Yeah, I know you. It's hard not to hear that song when you.
It really isn't.
But we get Elena's backstory, and you kind of get more of a sense of why she became the way she is, and why Lazarus maybe means a lot more to her at this point than maybe for the others, because we find out she grew up in a very interesting cult, and that
worships an AI.
Yeah, the AI is I think it's Naga, Naga,
and it's modeled off of Skinner's brain pattern.
Yeah, so but we see like everybody works together, but there's no real genuine love. It's just the worship of the cult leader and Naga, and so but then you see like a friend of hers that she sees again, and she's like, oh, well, you see like her mom. It's her mom, but she doesn't get that admiration and love from her.
No,
so basically, I'm rambling a little bit on, but my point that I'm making is that this is one of the examples of I wish the show did more of this, which is okay, we go to this location, and that through that location we get a sense of who these characters are and where they come from, and why maybe Lazarus is honestly the best thing for them. As the world's on the end, they have something to live for. But something I had to say that I did like about the show was that the world building. I thought the world building was great.
Yeah,
like,
the world building was very good.
Because like we see this, like every time they go to a new location, we get a sense of what this world looks like. Whether it's places
you get it's familiar but different enough.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, so we see how
how Istanbul has changed,
Yeah.
or how
Well, I guess
how was it Islamabad
Yeah.
would be in this future.
yeah, but I guess I mean like we it's kind of twofold because we get to see these different locations and we see how some people react to the news of Hapna, that's going to kill the whole world, and we see how other people react to it and other people don't. And one thing I like is that sometimes we get a sense of what the world's turning into. Like the newscast is like, oh, this is last Sunday, we'll ever be alive. You're seeing stories about the government reacting to it, or the stock
market.
So I like those
reacting.
details because it emphasized the
dire nature of everything.
exactly, yeah. But yeah, I thought them going through these different locations definitely helped to build up this world. Like the businesses they go to. At one point, they go to I think Delta Medical.
Yes.
Where they that produce Hapna, and like we see like what that business looks like, and the scientists of the world that go and visit because they have a fake cure they're trying to lure out Skinner,
Which causes the most annoying hacker to hack them.
Who Matt? Who?
What was it? Popcorn
Wizard.
Popcorn Wizard.
Yeah.
Whose catchphrase is hardcore.
Hey, you gotta have fun. It's just I think I'm sure they tried it once. It's gonna be a thing. It was. I think the thing too with the show was I think it's the weakest part. I guess was maybe the story.
Yes.
Like, the characters were really good. I like the characters.
I like the characters. I like they all had a distinct feel to them.
Yeah.
They didn't feel one note.
Yeah. In some ways, it's funny because at one point, like Axel's like Wayne finds himself on the team, and again, like I like certain details they introduced, like they wear these bracelets that shocks them. They try to take it off, and if they kind of try to run away after 3 days, it's going to kill them.
Yeah.
And that's why in the episode where Chris gets captured, like it's important they find her because she's going to die if they don't save her because of that bracelet. It's funny because at one point they're like, oh, well, like the Avengers. They should have said, what more like the Suicide Squad? I think that actually would have worked better for the show if they called them the Suicide Squad because, the facing...
Yeah. They're criminals. Yeah. They all have some kind of criminal past.
And they're facing death, Overall, like, what are your thoughts on the team and the formation?
I like the team. I like the as I said, I like the twist of why they were brought together. Even if it does have lingering questions
yes.
about the timeline and whatnot. And the action was good. The story, again, it was the weakest part. I wish we'd gotten a little bit more of backstory on the characters a little bit. Like Axel, we know he escapes prison. We know he's got...
We learn he comes from, like, he doesn't have family.
He doesn't have family, and he's been experimented on while he was in prison.
Yeah, that was one of my... I think that storyline was a little weak, but we'll talk about it. We'll get to that after we talk about the team.
We learn about Doug. I wish we got more about him.
Yes, that was my thing.
We got that he was a college professor or student or researcher or something.
Yeah.
And he ended up getting kicked out because of plagiarism.
Was it plagiarism? No, that wasn't plagiarism. Plagiarism was the professor that he was trying to find. No, Doug, he got kicked out of... he got into a fight with the professor.
Right.
Kind of saying, like, Doug could never be a scientist. And he punched the professor, and then
they kicked him out.
Yeah, this one professor stood up for him who has ties to Skinner, and they're hoping to find him in this home.
Yeah, and that's all we got.
Yeah. Because I feel like it's
They overlooked it.
They overlooked... Yeah, because
even Leland got more.
Leland got it. Elena got a story. Chris... I wanted to know more who Doug was, because... He's also one of the first characters we meet on this show, so you'd think that he'd be important. And
he's even the first person who has a monologue in the first episode. The first 6 episodes have a monologue from each of the characters.
Yeah.
And he's the first monologue.
Yeah, and so it feels like I would have liked to know why he was on this team, because it doesn't seem like we ever get a reason what...
Other than he's really smart.
Legal, criminal... Yeah, was he on the team just because he was smart? I guess so. But moving on.
Then we learn Leland's backstory about how comes from money, and...
He's Batman. That's what somebody says at some point, yeah.
he comes from money, and his sister wants him to take over the family, even though he's like, I don't want to.
Well, it's also he's illegitimate. He's a bastard son because you find out the dad
cheated on his mom.
Well, no, his mom was the mistress.
Yeah, his mom was the mistress.
But yet he still loved Leland as a child, and I think that's what I mean. Like when we got small character moments, it made these characters stand out a lot more. Like suddenly he's fighting with his sister, and it's just like, oh, I wish I want to be in charge, but I can't because
of the hereditary in the family goes to males.
Yeah, and you got like more of a sense of, in some ways, like why maybe he did step away because he had conflicting feelings about his father. But it's almost like. In some ways, him and Elena, it kind of shows that them having to go back to where they came from is what led them to answers about how to save find Skinner to save the world. So it's almost like they had to confront their past and their trauma and their issues in order to look forward to a bright future in a way. Yeah, I'm sure I'm thinking about this more than I need to, like I tend to.
Elena came from a cult who they're not supposed to have any relationship with their parents or the outside world. Or the outside world.
Yeah, they're only supposed to worship this AI supercomputer modeled after Dr. Skinner.
And then Chris is a Russian spy.
Yeah, which we don't find out right away, and I like the way that was revealed because after the episode, they go to the island. We see these people on a boat, but we don't know who they are.
Right.
And then they pass by Chris, and she's like, she gets nervous, and you're like, what does that mean? And then you get to meet them, and you get this whole backstory that's probably one of the most in depth of all the characters. Because I mean, the whole episode was based around her, whereas with
and you get a whole flashback sequence with her and her ex-lover,
The fight, that's what I was saying, like the fight on the oil rig when they're trying to save, that was a really
cool fight.
That was my favorite episode, was episode 8, which was, I'm bringing up the title because I will mention that later on.
Unforgettable Fire.
Yeah. Which, there is a fire in the episode because this rig blows up and sinks into the ocean. But yeah, like if each episode could have been more of that, or even like every other episode, I think it would have enhanced the story at the same time. As it is, the story was just very simple. The looking for Skinner, the trying to get this cure, and it's just a lot of starts and stops along the way.
What kills me is I called when they were looking for Skinner and they go to the homeless camp in, what was it, the second or third episode?
Third episode.
Third episode? Yeah. I called that was Skinner.
Why?
I was just like, he's standing right there. You're looking at him.
I guess I wasn't paying attention. It's like between like writing the notes and like trying to watch the show and listen. Like I guess I missed that part. But what bad stood out? Because basically
he looked exactly like him
at the end. Yeah. So at the end, should we just say it?
Yeah.
Okay. So at the end of the show, they find out that Skinner's been hiding out in this homeless community.
That's literally right down the street from where they're.
It's very much like they traveled the whole world looking for him, and he was in. They call it New Babylonia City.
Yeah.
And he's been in this homeless community the whole time. And something that's interesting, I thought, was they mentioned the effect of Hapna, that as you die, you kind of get like starry-eyed. Yeah. So like your eyes look like a nighttime sky, and you see Skinner with that in his eyes, which means that he took it too.
Well, he said that in episode. It was right after the. It was episode 9. Mm-hmm. It was right after the oil rig fight and during the interrogation scene or sorry, when Leland is testifying in front of the panel of intelligence community. Mm-hmm. Skinner makes a report or makes another video and says, "You guys still haven't found me. Mm-hmm. By the way, I'm going to be the first person who dies of this in 10 days."
Okay, it does something. It does interesting with the show, which is one part I did like. I'm sure I'm repeating myself saying I like this, I didn't like this. Anyway, At the end of every episode, there's a countdown. They go, okay, so like they have 30 days. So the episode 1 ends 29 days, and then the next episode ends a certain amount. So I liked that, how it kind of kept counting down and showing how less and less time they had to do what they had to do. But yeah, I feel like at the beginning, like they're looking for the clues they have to look for. Like the first clue was that they went to like this bunker that somehow Skinner purchased, or and that's Chris and Axel and Leland and Doug
go to this.
The people who own the business that sells it, and I thought that was a funny moment though, because they get attacked by these two guys, and you find
that they're debt collectors looking for the guy who's a deadbeat on his loans.
That's a guy in Arizona in the bunker.
And he's being the Russians and the Mexicans and the FBI are all looking for someone in the bunker.
I like how Axel's like, well, Lazarus, and they're like, we don't know what that is, and they just start shooting. So it was a lot of that. I think that's what it was. It's like, yes, sometimes they built upon each other, these missions, but sometimes they didn't. Like, they go to the bunker, and it's like, oh, this is a dead end, so let's start over again.
There were a lot of dead ends.
Yeah. And I guess that's the thing. It's like, and it makes sense. I mean, I described it as like you're looking for a needle in a pile of needles that's in a haystack. And so it's going to be a lot of false starts and stops. But I guess, did you want more of it to be like, oh, they find this one clue. Oh, there's one clue here, so let's go here. Which we got later on, but not right away.
I also feel like they had a few clues from early on that they held for later, like the pill.
Yeah.
Like if they just followed that clue right away.
Yeah, because there's one part where Leland and Chris they're breaking into Skinner's house, and they're pretending to be cleaners. And there's one part where like they're talking to security guards, and they're like, oh, we're here to clean the house. They're like, oh, this is a crime scene, blah blah blah. And they're like, okay, well, we're going to have to charge you, and we're going to charge you for this, cancellation fee. And they're like, just go ahead. And and as they're going about in this very futuristic house, in the couch cushion, they find this pill. And that pill really does lead them to where they need to find Skinner. Yeah. Which leads to Popcorn Wizard, who's a hacker that has a connection to Skinner. That's true. And that was in episode
1.
No, was that, no, it was. No, I think it was episode.
It was on episode 1. It's episode 2. It was when Doug and. It was when Doug and.
No, I think it was episode 3.
Is it episode 3? No, yeah, it's episode 3. You're right.
Yeah,
it was in episode 3 when Doug and Axel were going to the homeless camp. Leland and Chris were going to Skinner's house.
But yeah, and that doesn't come up until.
It doesn't come up until, like, the last couple episodes.
Yeah, so hence why I said, like, something like that, where you have, like, a lot of space in between. Granted, 2 of my favorite episodes
were in between there.
Yeah, but this could have been a really good movie. Yeah. You could have cut away a lot of the extra stuff that... I guess sometimes it was there to raise excitement. And
it was probably also there for character building and stuff like that, and team building. Mm-hmm. Like, the episode where they go to the nightclub.
Yeah, that was fun. And so basically the setup of that one...
they're looking for a hacker.
Yeah.
Because people are coming to the ATMs.
Don't Stop the Dance is the name of the episode.
There's a bunch of people who are starting to look like Skinner all around the world. Mm-hmm. And the only way that could have happened is if a hacker was...
hiding his face.
Or he got a bunch of people to get surgery.
Yeah.
To look like...
But which is impossible because it's like thousands of people. But yeah, so they go to this club because they find out that the person who did that was a hacker named Dr. 909 or 909.
Dr. 909.
Yeah, and he had worked with this
club owner.
No, he was a stock trader named Sam,
who also owns the club.
Yeah, boy, they make him out to be the most pompous, arrogant tech bro who's really just capitalizing on the situation.
Yeah,
because basically he found out that Hapna was gonna somehow he found out, right? That Hapna
he found out that Hapna was deadly before
the public found out.
Before the public found out. So he shorted the stock, and the only way he found that out, it turns out that he hacked Delta Medical
with the help of Dr.
with the help of Dr. 909.
Which there's a whole mystery about who was Dr. 909, and we find out that he was the DJ that Steve was.
Who he's also kind of.
I'm so happy he got beat up because he is. It is just like they make him out to be bad morally and ethically.
Yeah,
I feel like it's the same thing in some ways, but yeah, like he invites all these women up to like the top floor of this
thing, and he drugs them.
Yeah, and so Chris is there, and also Leland is there in disguise as a girl.
Yeah,
that the DJ,
the DJ is attracted to,
and so power to Chris because she's able to like still beat them up as she's getting drugged, and yeah, she kicks all their asses, which. Good for her. But yeah, they made him like so like, like we're taking money and we're doing this. Like they made him like super bad looking.
And then Dr. 909 comes back towards the end and is actually helping them out,
which I think is something that could have led into another season.
Yeah,
if and when they choose to do so. But yeah, that moment was also. I think it had a funny moment too because you see Doug and they're like he's trying to dance. And it's not as bad as like Elaine on Seinfeld dancing, but they're like that's not dancing. Like he's kind of very stiff as he's trying to dance. But that scene also reminded me a little bit of John Wick 4, where they go to the hotel in Japan, because it has that same neon look to it. But it has a really cool chase scene, which I enjoyed.
The helicopter chase scene was really cool.
Where I want to say Elena. She hacked the helicopter? She had to have, or she didn't?
No, it was the AI didn't want to listen to.
Oh really? Oh, that makes it even funnier. Yeah, so basically they're like, do this, and it's like beep. Boop,
I can't.
Beep,
I can't.
Yeah, it's because I thought it was her voice saying like the beep boop beep boop. I was like, oh, that's funny. She's just trying to mess with them. Oh, so it's just the AI going like, hey, I know you're a jerk, so whatever. But there's a part too where like throughout the show, Leland uses like these drones. In the oil rig episode 8, it looks like a seagull, but it always looks kind of different. And it made me think, like, oh, Axel's holding on to, like, the Goblin Glider from Spider-Man. Did you think that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They even make a Spider-Man reference, not in that episode, but in a later episode.
Oh, when he's climbing on the building.
Yeah, he's like, I want to be like Spider-Man.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was a cool action scene I liked. And basically, they get like, a file drive or something from them.
Yes.
And that's what leads them...
That leads them to Delta Medical.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I thought like stuff like that was really good, where they kind of like
one clue led to another clue.
But the backtracking through the creation of Hapna, you know, from the distribution to the studies, and there's like moments I thought like when you see in some laboratory like one of the first test animals die, and you realize that now it's getting serious. Okay, so there's one thing. Okay, do you want to talk about like one of the weaker parts of the story too?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so one part for me was they introduced a character named HQ.
Yes.
Who's like almost like a hitman broker.
Yes.
For an assassin known as the Phantom Assassin, which I kept abbreviating.
Who ends up being said Phantom Assassin.
So and the reason why they hire him is basically because the military and the guy who's in charge of INSCOM, which I'm sorry I forget what the abbreviation is, some government contract.
They're trying to silence they have information of why
Hapna was gonna kill people.
Well, no, they were doing experiments on prison inmates that Axel was a part of, and so they want to kill him because they know that because A, he's the only survivor of these experiments, and B, they were responsible for weaponizing Hapna.
Yeah, so that's what I don't get. And that's why I feel like this whole part didn't need to be included. I thought, them trying to find out maybe if they discovered, like, INSCOM, they had a hand, which I think that's what the idea was here, was that the experiments they were doing was what was meant to lead to Hapna later on. But if Axel got this information, why would it be like, oh, yeah, I can't know this information. Like, what difference did it make for him at this point?
No.
It didn't make anything. It had no value.
All it did was cause a cool fight scene.
It had a cool fight scene. It almost kind of was like, almost like a slight mandate to have him fight an assassin, I guess. But I feel like the whole like experiment on the prisoners didn't really lead to anything.
All it led to was a exposition dump in the second to last episode or last episode by the guy who runs the NSA who hired Lazarus in the first place.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if Lazarus found out this information, how would it change what he did for the rest of the story? It wouldn't, right?
No.
And they're like, we gotta make sure he doesn't find out. It's like, by them doing this, it just made matters worse.
Yeah, no.
It's something like they keep saying how Lazarus caused a lot of destruction. I think them hiring the famous assassin caused even more destruction.
I mean, you killed an entire army squad.
That was a good action scene, and it had a very kind of creepy horror feel to it.
Yes.
Like, because they had them on strings like they were marionettes.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, and then not only that, you get the fam assassin HQ. He mentions like this creature,
the Hundun.
The Hundun, and that like because he sees the necklace that Axel's wearing.
Yeah.
It has a wing, and the
Hundun.
Hundun. It's like
it's a Chinese mythological.
It's like a
being.
faceless four-legged creature with wings.
Yes.
And that becomes a whole thing where it kind of like triggers him at moments to freeze up because it gives him flashbacks. A cool flashback that had a really kind of like interesting animation feel to it. Almost had like that cardboard stop motion
horror stop motion feel to it.
And I liked how the film had that kind of film reel to it, but I don't really feel like his character really added. I even put my notes like, why was he such a big character going after Axel? Who didn't even know?
He was in 4 episodes.
But they really like made him up to be like the antagonist of the team when he wasn't.
No,
the antagonist, for all intents and purposes,
was Inscom.
It was Inscom, but it really was Skinner. I mean, not in like he's like an evil guy, depending on how you see what his plan was with Hapna, but it's like he should have been the focus. I don't know. They tried to introduce too many villains at some points.
Yeah,
and they muddled this conspiracy of them trying to hide the fact that they knew what Hapna was. And they went through with it anyway, knowing what it could do. And I mean, so do you want to talk about Skinner's plan? What did you think about it?
Well, for Skinner's plan, I think...
Do you want to explain what it was?
So Skinner's plan was basically he felt that humanity didn't really deserve what it had. Mm-hmm. Because the environment was being destroyed, mm-hmm. all these people were being displaced. So he created this drug mm-hmm. to make people not feel pain. Mm-hmm. But he changed the drug 3 years later to kill anybody who took it 3 years after they took it. Mm-hmm. And he was like, well, the people who can't feel pain, because there are people out there who just can't feel pain, mm-hmm. they're not going to take this drug, mm-hmm. so they'll survive, mm-hmm. and nobody else will.
But from like trying like a moral standpoint, like what Skinner did, was he trying to make a point? Was he trying to make a good point, bad point?
I think his point was he was making a good point, but at the same time, the way he went about it was not the best. Mm-hmm.
Instead of just trying to do something to let people know, he's just like, hey, guess what? This is going to happen, and get the cure for me, and you'll be okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I have something listening to what you were saying. You think in a way like he did this because like Hapna made people stop having to know what it means to really feel about something? That pain is a part of the human process and identity, that we need to feel, these hurtful moments because it makes us who we are. And by taking Hapna and being able to eliminate that, kind of made humanity forget that. Maybe that's why they stopped caring about the environment and
they already didn't care about the environment.
Yeah, and you see like the homeless community, like they didn't care about, They
didn't care about the homeless community. They didn't care about the but this is even before Hapna.
Yeah, but I'm saying is that factors that led into him making this decision. Because remember he went to the UN and he made that whole speech about
I think what led him to make the decision mm-hmm. was what happened at the airport or train station.
It was the airport, and yes, so this kept being referenced a lot, and sometimes when they reference it, I'm like, did I miss an episode where they brought this up? Because they introduce it as if we already knew about it.
Yeah.
And that made it confusing.
And then they finally do show you what happened, and you're like, oh, okay.
This was the last episode, too, right? They showed it, or the second to last, at least?
Something like that.
Yeah. Do you want me to talk about what happened?
Sure.
Okay. So basically, they keep referencing this incident at an airport, and
especially towards the back half of the show.
And it was considered some, like, terrible attack, but you find out the truth of the matter was Skinner was transporting the drugs that were going to be...
Well, he was transporting...
Like a prototype, right?
He was transporting a gas that Inscom created using his...
research?
His research on Hapna.
Okay.
Because he was trying to out them.
Yeah, so basically, then...
and then somebody shoots his luggage and cause the gas attack at the...
Yes, and...
Killing everybody except for Skinner and the members of Lazarus.
Which we don't know at the time.
Yes.
But basically, yeah, so he was going there, and we found the truth of the matter was it wasn't some sort of attack, it was essentially an accident. They shoot the case, releases the gas, and they had to cover the truth of the matter. And at the same time, we find out that Axel met Skinner there.
Leland was there.
Leland was there. Chris was there. Elena was there.
And Leland's father was one of the people who died at that.
Oh, right. Yeah, I forgot about that. But here's my question. They show Axel, and he's a kid.
Yeah.
But Leland's like a teenager when we see him in the present day. Like, I'm confused how young, what the ages were of some of the characters here. Because there's a little...
Well, they didn't say when exactly the attack happened.
But Axel was there because he was in the airport with his parents, right? Was it Axel?
Axel was there.
Yeah. Say everybody who...
I think every member of Lazarus was there.
Yeah, but my point is that, like...
I think Axel was probably a teenager.
Okay.
A young teenager.
Okay.
Leland was a kid, like 10 years old or whatever.
Yeah, okay. Then we find out that the gas killed them for a brief time, and then they
resurrected them.
Yeah, and that's
hence
why
Lazarus.
Yeah, and that's why Abel, who's the boss of Hirsch, brings all these characters together. But yeah, I don't know. You said that raised a question for you. Like, what are the questions that it raised?
Like timeline.
Yeah.
Like. When exactly did this attack happen?
Yeah, we don't know.
We don't really know.
It is kind of... that's the thing.
It's nebulous. It happened. I'm guessing it happened about 10-ish years before the events.
Because Axel's said to be 23 when we saw the show. So
I'm guessing he was 13 when that happened.
I guess I just don't like the fact that it made it seem like we already knew what that incident, like, we knew it was a mystery, but it made it sound like it was information we kind of knew, and we didn't. They kept referencing, like, yeah, but what is it? And I guess maybe that's what the idea was, like, oh, we're going to show you the twist at the end of it, and then you're going to know what it is. But it would have been better.
Nice to have a little bit more information.
Yeah.
Or at least show one version of events.
Oh, yeah.
And then run it back towards the end and be like, no, this is what really happened.
Something I forgot to bring up before was, for the first, I think, at least 5 episodes, they it was a cool way to structure the show.
There's a cold open.
The cold open, the spinning a dreidel, and they're talking about each person's thoughts,
experience on Hapna and their thoughts on the world.
Yeah, and it was really cool because, like, you start out with Doug, and then it goes to the different characters, and all. It gives you a better perspective of.
I actually wrote down everyone. Doug was the first one. I believe Leland was the second one.
Chris was the third one.
Chris was the third one. Elena was the fourth one, and Axel was the fifth one.
But what I liked was that it gave you an idea of, like, what this drug and what it did to the world, like what it meant to each of them. So, again, a little bit of sprinkling of character perspectives to kind of give you a different feel for what Hapna was. Was it great? Was it not? Some people took it because they wanted to try it, or took it because they were trying to get away from feelings. And it had a cool little montage too. I like that, like the one they kept repeating. So it kind of like was a little jarring when like you expected another character to talk about it and then it just jumped right. But it makes sense why. I think it was like at least episode 6 or so that they stopped doing that, because you got everybody's perspective. You don't have to say what Hapna was every single time.
Yeah.
But up to that point, it kind of.
I mean, you could have done it with with Hirsch and Abel and the other extended cast.
I guess so, but I guess they wanted to keep
it with the main cast.
Well, not that, but like the mystery of like what their connection was to Hapna, because they did have a big connection.
Yeah,
for the most part. Okay, before do you want me to talk about the little like intro that they did, or like the opening credits? I mean,
yeah.
Do you want me to talk about Hirsch a little bit?
Let's do the opening credits and then we'll talk about Hirsch.
Okay.
And then...
yeah. So one fun thing with any anime series is the opening credits, and this one was pretty cool. I liked it. I liked the kind of fun jazz like sound of it, and it had a really kind of cool graffiti look to it, almost like a Banksy type style. It was interesting because I was kind of curious because I used a lot of colors in the intro and like the falling, almost like the falling to the despair, the doom, but they used colors like purple, yellow, green. I was kind of curious what that might mean, and I think it kind of reflects some of the characters. Because like purple is meant to be like creativity, wisdom, and spirituality. Yellow tends to be happiness, optimism, but it could also be caution or deceit. Green is nature, growth, renewal, vitality, money. Blue, calmness, trust, stability, sadness. And red, which we see with the logos, is one big thing is a warning, but it's also passion, love, and desire. So I feel like a lot of that represents a lot of the different characters. Something that was cool though was the act breaks.
Yes.
I liked how the logo was different every time. That was pretty cool.
That was really cool. But that's generally the case with, I mean, especially short-running anime. Mm-hmm. They have that time to be like, okay, I'm going to do a different act break.
Mm-hmm. I guess I don't see that as much. Like
title card.
Oh, so like because I watch like a lot of long form, I won't see that as much. But actually, right now I'm watching Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, and in between they kind of do have that as like title cards, but with characters.
Yeah.
And they always go Full Metal Alchemist. But this was cool because like the logos had a really like neat, very design to them. Each one was different than the next one, which was really cool. Sometimes it was almost like an optical illusion when you looked at them.
One Piece has title card act breaks too, but it generally only changes really between seasons, and not every episode.
But yeah, definitely check out the intro at least, I would say, because it's cool and it has like a John Woo feel to it, which the show does too at times. Like this part with doves flying in the back. 2 times I expected more, but there's one like Axel like falls off a building to climb into like some
and
scaffolding, whatever, and at the end
doves are flying by.
Yeah. So I like that.
The soundtrack is really great.
Yeah. Well, do you want to talk about Hirsch or do you want to talk about the soundtrack?
Well, I mean, since we're talking opening credits, let's talk soundtrack.
So, do you mean like the music of the score or the?
Well, both. Mm-hmm. The score of the show, I think, it's suitable for the show itself, but compared to Watanabe's other projects, it's a little lacking. It doesn't have as much cohesion to what's going on.
Yeah, like I would say the breakout scene, the prison breakout in the first episode, like that was exactly what you wanted. Like it really matched the energy of what was happening in the scene. And then sometimes the action was fighting, and you're like, okay, cool, but like the music maybe wasn't.
It wasn't hitting that same level.
Yeah.
And then each episode is named after or is a reference to a song. So
I'm glad you brought that up because I did take the time to look this up. And I have to say, one really cool thing about the show is it has a really good mixtape soundtrack, if you will. But there's a lot of good songs. I took the time to listen to them all. And some songs, one of which, Heaven is a Place on Earth, is definitely one I've heard of. But like other ones that I hadn't that were really good. So the way the episode titles are is episode 1's Goodbye Cruel World, which is by Pink Floyd. Episode 2 is Life in the Fast Lane by the Eagles. Episode 3 is Long Way From Home by the Lumineers, which never heard that song, but wow, it is a sad song. It's really good, and it hits you with an emotional punch that I was not expecting when I listened to it. Episode 4 is Don't Stop the Dance by Brian Ferry. Episode 5 is Pretty Vacant by the Sex Pistols. Episode 6 is Heaven is a Place on Earth by Belinda Carlisle. Episode 7 is Almost Blue by Chet Baker.
That's a great song.
That was a really cool, like, smooth, sad jazz.
Yeah.
That really felt, that fit that episode so well, especially, like, because they're around the ocean, they're alone, and it matched up perfectly. Episode 8 is Unforgettable Fire by U2. Episode 9 is Death on Two Legs by Queen, which I never heard, but it's a pretty fun song. It's
not a typical Queen song.
It isn't. It's a very like I don't want to say angry, but it's a very kind of like it's a very fiery song, I'll say.
Okay.
Episode 10 is I Can't Tell You Why by the Eagles, again. Episode 11 is Running with the Devil by Van Halen. Episode 12 is Close to the Edge by Yes, which is a very interesting. I know I don't listen to a lot of prog rock, which was what this is, and it's very interesting. It's a cool song, but it's a long song at 18 minutes. And episode 13 is The World Is Yours by Nas. So I have to say the songs really do match up with what's going on in the episode.
Yeah.
And I would say my favorite part of the show was the soundtrack that I found. I'm going to be listening to most of these songs a lot. If I was wrong with any of these songs, let me know. Let us know in the comments or email us. But it showed, I know how much music is integral to Cowboy Bebop. So to see like Lazarus at least try to get that in some regard, it really did work. And really, really cool soundtrack to listen to. But yeah, that was really interesting. And there was also, I don't know if it said, I think in the end of the title for episode 1, there was in the beginning of it when Hirsch is going to meet Axe, and Doug's in the car, he goes, "Play me something like about a man who sold his soul to the devil." And I think the name of it was Dark Will Fall, might be the name, because I think that's what I saw in the press. I might be wrong, but that was a really cool song. It set up a lot of the tone of what the characters would really be dealing with going forward. But yeah, that was cool. Musically, the show succeeds in one part and kind of like manages to work in another.
Yeah,
I guess you could say
it's middling. It's passable in one respect, and it's great in another.
Yeah. Which makes you wonder if this was actually just a movie, if the songs would have been in the show. And I could see some of them working.
Yeah.
Especially Unforgettable Fire. That does work with what's going on with Chris and her ex-lover. And something that was cool about that episode is that there's a part where they're playing music, and she's playing the piano, and like I think it's at the end, and the key she's playing matches up with like the song that's playing in the background. I thought it was kind of cool. Hirsch, the character I kept writing a lot of questions about as I was watching. But yeah, Hirsch was the character you expect to see in these type of stories. You know, mysterious government agent that has to assemble his team. There's something they're not telling them, and you find out the thing that she's not telling them is that she knew Skinner. She worked with Skinner, and that's why she loved Skinner. Yeah, she was hired because of the fact she had a history with Skinner.
Yeah.
So we find out that she worked creating Hapna, and then he just disappeared. And the reason why he disappears is because it goes back to that whole incident in the airport. That's why he left, and she was really hurt by that. But it's almost like would you say they took advantage of that by going like, "Hey, if you have a way to get to see him again, this is your way."
Yeah.
And I did like the scenes between her and Abel. And Abel's her boss, who works for the NSA. And I
really liked Abel.
He was an interesting character because I liked the idea. So there's a moment, and this is a small character moment, but he goes to a museum. The whole world's getting ready to, fall apart. And he's like, "I want to remember Rembrandt. I want to see this painting because I want it to be appreciated." Like, he's enjoying the small little moments. Maybe that was part of Skinner's plan to begin with. But it was such like a really like, it kind of made you like say like, oh, if you were in that situation, would you take the time to appreciate certain beauty around you, like Chris does in the ocean? He's doing with a Rembrandt painting.
I probably would.
Yeah, something that gives you like this. This gave my life a little bit of meaning.
Yeah,
as it was
as the world's ending.
Yeah. But yeah, but Hirsch, yeah, I liked once they had the reveal, it really, I mean, they didn't trust her to begin with.
Yeah.
And then she didn't give them any reason to trust her, except, I'll kill you if you try to get away. But it was even more so, and that led to a really good conversation between, like, what her background was. Especially the reveal that she worked with Skinner was really like, oh my goodness. That was pretty cool. But yeah, and I liked as it went on, and after that secret was revealed, she kind of opened up more to the team. And I forgot if that was before or after she kind of did help the team when Chris gets kidnapped.
That was, I want to say it was they found out beforehand, but they dealt with it after the fact.
Yeah, but I like the idea that
I think they found out in Almost Blue, and they dealt with it in the beginning of Unforgettable Fire.
But it made me think, like, oh, is that the reason why? Basically, when they go to save Chris, she's like, this has nothing to do with our actual mission. But it's almost like, do you think, like, she saw, like, I wish the way they are going out of the way for her is what Skinner could have done for Hirsch. Yeah, and that's why she helps. She's like, you can't know this. This is off the books. We can't let anybody know. And it's interesting because, like...
And they still found out.
Yeah, because then when they find the committee, they're like, hey, by the way, you sanctioned this trip to the Arctic that you weren't supposed to do. But... I also like Abel, we find out, has a connection to Leland?
Leland's father.
Yeah, Leland's father, which is, I guess, one reason why he's on the team. You know, obviously, especially with the other incident at the airport. But he seemed like, almost like divine intervention. Like, this is a team we have to have because this is a sign that they need to be the team.
Also, the naming conventions in the show. Like Abel, Lazarus.
So
very biblical.
So I looked it up, too, and I wanted to know what does Lazarus mean, and it does mean God has helped or God is my helper. So, you know, they were the helpers, you know.
Well, it's also a reference to the actual character, the actual person Lazarus in the Bible who died and came back to life.
Like he's a character in the Bible? He was a person
in the Bible.
I'm kidding. But yeah, no, I understood that. Yeah, you know. But I liked how they worked on two fronts. It was about them coming back, but also... You know, they are the helpers for humanity.
Yeah.
Granted, they cause a lot of destruction along the way. But, you know, you gotta break a few eggs before you make an omelet. Especially when using Hapna. Anything else there? Abel? Anything?
I mean, Abel was a really fun character. I wish we'd gotten a little more of him. Because he's he's the typical NSA suit who did form the team. But he was just... He seemed like he had a little more to him. Yeah,
and especially, like, when, toward the end, he's confronting the head of INSCOM. And he's, like, you could tell, like, he has a friendly side to him, and he has a business side to him. And, like, when he's facing off in that scene, and he's like, we know what you were doing with the secrets. And
we have all the information we need. We're here to arrest you.
Yeah. But, like, you can see he's very focused, too, when he has to be. Like, it shows a well-rounded form to a character that could have just been a one-note character.
And INSCOM's like, what's in it for me to give you
Hirsch? Yeah, because that's right. So basically, Hirsch goes there kind of with the information she has, and she's being captured, and Abel has to save her. So he goes to the president, who is suffering from the Hapna effects, and...
He asks for two favors.
Yeah, and one was an executive order to save Hirsch.
And the other gets revealed in the final episode.
Yeah, and he's like, okay, sure, you know, like
I'm dying anyways.
Yeah. So and then but I forgot about that part. I think the guy's name was Snyder or something like that. He's like, what's in it for me if I give you her? It's like, oh my goodness, this guy. Probably like the weakest storyline in the show, and now you're being even like more selfish about it. I guess you could say animation wise, how do you feel about the animation?
It was pretty smooth.
This was Mappa, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Mappa almost never misses for me, at least animation wise.
Like we said very early on this review, like the action scenes are really smooth. There's a nice fluid flow to them. Like the way the fights feels like two people actually fighting. It's really cool. The settings and the background design, like really cool, like really good detail.
And really cool background gags too.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'll mention that after this. But yeah, even the city felt. I liked how the city had kind of that like it's falling apart, but it's still futuristic. It's like a very like a strange combination of everything. It's a little bit natural, like with green around it, but there's a lot of concrete around it too. And there's that hypertube. I also liked when they go to the whole compound. it's almost like a computer board.
Yeah.
Yeah, it also might remember Midsommar a little bit, the way it was. Because it was like in this big green field.
And they're tents all over the place. And
they're wearing the same, clothes and everything. But even like when they go to the ocean, like the underwater...
It's very beautiful.
That was really nice. That was really well animated. Oh, something I forgot to mention was, okay, speaking of those islands, we have brought it up. So, one thing we overlooked that we kind of referenced was when they go to these islands, they discover Skinner bought them years ago. But he bought them from people on this island who don't feel pain.
Yes.
And
that's how he was able to make Hapna in the first place.
Because he asked for genetic donations or DNA donations so he could study them. And that's where Hirsch was involved too. And it was called... The name of it?
The disorder?
Yeah.
Analgesia.
Yeah. Which means they can't feel pain. Because there's a part where Axel's talking, he goes, oh, well, I never took Hapna. I don't feel pain. None of us do. Actually, there was a guy years ago that came here. And he gave us money for the islands so he could relocate, but he asked for genetic donations along the way, which I thought that was a kind of cool origin for Hapna. Well, like you said, those were the only people, if they didn't get the cure, would have survived in this world. They would have
then maybe Belinda probably would have, because I don't think she would have taken it.
Belinda was
his grandmother...
Oh, yeah, she never took it, right?
Yeah, I don't think she ever took it.
Okay. Oh, yeah, Belinda, with the great bacala. It looked good. I wanted to try. I wanted to reach into the TV and have some of that. In the way it's shot. That was also a fun chase scene, remember?
Yeah.
Because they're being chased... They're looking for Belinda. And they're being chased to the city. And Leland is... he's in the cultural... He's in... Not cultural. He's in the clothes.
He's in like Arabic garb.
Yeah, and there's a part where this girl's like, oh, I wish for a prince, and like he falls through the roof. She goes, oh wow, he goes, no, I'm busy, I gotta run away. But yeah, then they go like, oh, Belinda, you mean her? And like, oh, let me show you where she is. Yeah,
we just want to taste Grandma Belinda's baklava.
I mean, he talked about it halfway around the world. Who wouldn't want to try it? But yeah, no, I thought that was kind of like interesting when we found more of the clues, like what Hapna was, and that kind of led into more leads that they could follow. But yeah, I wish the show was more about that. Again, I feel like the whole like Axel being experimented on really didn't do anything. What was the point of it? Do you feel like it was just there to raise some stakes? But
I think it was there to raise some stakes and cause a couple of fights.
Yeah, but I don't really think it like added anything to the actual search for Hapna. Like,
no,
and Axel wouldn't even know the difference between.
If anything, it distracted from the search.
Yeah. I guess mean like
It took a couple of characters off the boards because they had to deal with this Phantom Assassin.
But yeah,
which the final fight with him ends pretty...
That was cool, on the top of the building.
It was a really cool fight, but it ends pretty anticlimactically. Because the building just falls on him.
Yeah, and he's like, do I have a face now? They're like, yeah, you have a face, and then he dies. Yeah, because that's part of the mythos of that Hundun.
Yeah. They carved the face into it.
Yeah. I don't know, did you feel like the whole like different personalities needed to be with that character?
No.
Yeah. I mean, kind of confusing too, a little bit. Not confusing, but it's just like, oh, all right. I feel like you could have just had two different characters. It would have made me... Because then it could have been like maybe somebody Axel knew, or... Because Axel mentions at one point that like he grew up with a bunch of friends and they all died, or they got captured, or whatever. If that assassin was one of his friends, he'd be like, oh my goodness.
Or if Axel was part of that school.
Yeah.
That would have made a more personal connection.
Mm-hmm. Like, maybe the memories he had were false. Like, he created it for himself or something like that he just didn't realize. Yeah, that would have made a lot better.
It also made the emblem on his thing make more sense.
Yeah, because otherwise it didn't mean anything to Axel, right?
No.
He just wore it. And, it was almost like it was very convenient that he happened to be wearing something like that. So, after they've traveled the whole world looking for Skinner, like we said a bit earlier, they discovered that Skinner... Because what happened was... They discovered the pill that we mentioned that could have just been a very big shortcut to kind of make the show a little shorter, make the story tighter, was used for somebody who had heart replacements. And they discovered they went to the doctor who did the surgery. That doctor led to Popcorn Wizard again. Hardcore!
Yeah.
Sorry, that's what I meant. And who said that she was from one of those islands where they didn't feel any pain.
She doesn't have any friends.
Yeah.
And she wants Elena to be both her rival and her best friend.
Mm-hmm. Which that was cool. I thought once the two of them actually met up and met face to face, it did kind of create an interesting
dynamic
alliance between the two of them. Yeah. But then she says that as a favor to Skinner, she'd be monitoring where he was, and anybody found her, they would give her the information. So, I mean, Skinner, like, that's one thing I guess what Skinner did was he didn't make it so that way it was, like, impossible to find. He wanted people, but he wanted them to earn
finding him.
Yeah. And so they discovered that, oh, wow, he was in New Babylonia, or New Babylon City.
I think he wanted them to have the journey they had in order to find him.
Yeah, which is what I mean before.
If anything, like he wanted them to go to the islands and see the islands underwater and find that connection.
Okay. Because that was something I put in my notes. I'm like, a lot of these clues and leads all part of a test by Skinner.
It could have been. That's the only thing that makes sense.
Because these clues did lead from one to the other. Sometimes it was like a false start. But yeah, that was one thing I was thinking. I guess in some ways it was. Like you said, like, oh, you can... appreciation for the world, being connected with other people on a really deep personal level, feeling something again. Yeah, I guess so. But, okay, so they discover that they go to the homeless community encampment, and they find Skinner dying by the water. He takes his glasses off, and they're like, "Hey, we found you," and he goes, okay.
He's like, "Well, yeah, you only had 24 hours left.
Yeah.
Not even. You had like 12 hours left."
Yeah, they had like a really short time to find him. But he does live up to his word, and he gives them the cure. And again, like I thought it was kind of interesting. Like you see him with those starry eyes. Like I wondered if do you think Skinner took the cure?
No, I think he was like, "I'm done. It's too late to save me anyways."
Because that's right. Because there is a part where he does Axel.
He asks them, "Do you think the world's worth saving?"
And he pretty much is kind of like, he says, yes. He goes, for the most part. Okay. So he does explain. Skin does explain like what happened. Like the accident in the airport made him lose his faith in humanity, in people, and himself, and it broke him. And also, that was more like. He also didn't want Hirsch to see him become the person he was.
And she still loves him after all that.
Okay, but I found what I was looking for. He does ask about his worldview, and he's like, well, the world's kind of bad, but it's also redeemable also.
Yeah.
He's making the point that there's nothing saying we can ever, fix the problems that we have. We still can. I mean, the show proved it when they did at the end. And then, so they get the cure, and then... And it's funny. It's almost like everything happens at once because it does. This is literally the last scene. And Abel's like, "Hey, by the way, executive order. You got pardons, everybody." And he goes,
"And do you guys want to stay a team?"
Yeah. And it's interesting because, like I said, I think Leland was one of the first to say, "I'll do it," and then everybody else kind of chimes in because it's the idea of the found family. These characters that ran away from places that they didn't feel like they belonged, or were always on the run from something else, finally found people that can actually live and be happy and found love in a way. In the sense that, they had that family bond that you only get by, but basically they found
a family. It's basically they found a family with each other, even though they don't have families
of their own. Yeah, exactly. And even if they did, they're not as genuine. I mean, I guess Leland's the closest one that does.
Yeah,
but Elena really doesn't.
No.
Go ahead.
It's honestly very similar to the Straw Hat Pirates.
Oh, really?
They're a found family. They become a family throughout the course of One Piece.
To reference a song, they found love in a hopeless place. But at the end of it, Gable really wants to keep this team together. He feels like there's almost a divine reason for why they are.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, yeah. Then Axe is like, yeah, sure, why not?
I'm not doing anything else anyways.
And that's my thing. Like, it just ends... Like, after that scene, I liked how they had scenes of the world kind of coming back. And there's one moment that we both kind of laughed at. Because Delta Medical's like, goodbye pain, goodbye Hapna, hello pain. It's like, I don't know if people can feel again, but bye Hapna, hello pain. It's like, that's not the best catchphrase. I wouldn't say that. I liked how you see like the world kind of like slowly coming back to terms, like stock market's going up, the vaccine is being produced.
And the people who invested when they thought the world was ending sure probably made a shit ton of money.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure Sam got in trouble. But the thing was, like, it just ends so abruptly.
Yeah.
It's like, that was my one thing. Like, it didn't, like, ease into the ending. It was just like, I was like, sure, why not? The end. Like, that's what you're giving me? Like, no, like, them walking out going, like, hey, why don't we get lunch or something? On me. Or like, what do I do with the other Hapna? Oops, sorry. I knocked over Matt's soda. It was like, like, what's going to happen to the Hapna now? You want to grab that?
No, it's fine.
It just kind of stops, and it just felt like very abrupt. But two things I forgot to say was, and you mentioned before, the recurring jokes I liked were, one was, there's a cat that shows up every single episode.
Yes.
Which is almost like a team member at this point. And even at one point, they're like, has that cat always been here? And the other one was, there's a cop that shows up in almost every episode. And it's funny, in the first episode, he sees Axe as he's
escaping prison.
And he's like, hey, you're wearing prison jump shoe. He goes, oh, it's just a new fashion trend. He goes, oh, be careful, you might get arrested. And then he sees a report about him, and before he can get him, he changes his clothes.
Yeah.
But he shows up, and it's like a background part, like he's in the hospital. When they go to a hospital, he's sneezing. And I have to say, I think he might be the most important character, because he's the one that got the authorities to come to find Skinner.
Yeah.
Because remember, they go, you got, he like goes, oh, I found you at the end. And he's like, hey, before you do that, we found Skinner. Let everybody know. You help save the world. He's like, okay. And they actually have at the end. They're like, hero cop, So I thought that was kind of funny. I thought that was nice.
It was a fun little gag.
Yeah. At the very end, too, they go 0 days left for us, which means either Lazarus or, the show itself. But that's pretty much the whole... Those are our thoughts on. Like you said, we just kind of wanted to just talk about the show in general. We jumped around a lot, but if we had done it episode by episode, I think it might have made a little boring in some ways.
Because it was just being repetitive.
Yeah. Which at times the show
was.
Yeah. I'll let you share your the overall thoughts to wrap things up.
I think it was okay. As I said, it was a disappointment if you're expecting something like on the level of Cowboy Bebop or Samurai Champloo. But, I mean, it's entertaining for 13 episodes. And it's not a huge time commitment. So... check it out if you found what we said interesting. For me, I would say, like I began this review with, it was an okay, fine show, but it could have been a better movie,
a great movie. But for what it was, if you're determined to or interested in watching the show, and you don't mind sitting through a couple episodes in the beginning that kind of like stumble a little bit, the ending for the most part does reach a satisfying conclusion and does kind of strengthen a lot of the character developments that kind of were just introduced early on the show. Yeah. So by the end of it, you do feel like this. You feel like you understand his team and you kind of can relate or empathize with these characters. Some parts of the story felt a little unnecessary or tacked on or not really as well thought out. But for the main storyline, them trying to find Skinner, trying to find the secure and save the world. It's good, and the action definitely will keep you interested. It's something really cool in terms
flashy,
of...
very flashy.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good word. And yeah, if like you said, not a big time commitment. It's 13 episodes. Each one's about 24 minutes. If you want a nice complete story, you'll get it here. Some things I did look up too about the show was that it did air in Japan and almost simultaneously on Adult Swim at the same time. I wasn't sure what it aired one place else. And then I looked up to see if there was any news on season 2. Not right now, but Watanabe did say he's open to one because he said basically there's a lot more issues in the world and the team can be there just to try to solve them. So the story might not be over yet.
Or at least this case is over, but there might be another case. So
it makes me wonder, like, what would be the next thing they try to save? Like, this one was trying to save the world from a pill that was going to kill everybody. Like, where could you see it going? Or where would you like to see it go?
I'd like them to see them investigate that. Even though it was the weakest part of the show, it might strengthen it. That the assassin's background.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the biggest story. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and you can still deal with the same kind of trauma that was introduced in the show in this
Yeah.
season. Yeah, that's a good point. That would be cool. Or, be the whole experimentation thing. There was another drug that was being worked on, like a counterfeit Hapna that's on the black market or something like that.
I think that would make things a little repetitive.
Yeah, or well, not a pill, but like some sort of like super soldier serum or something like that. I guess I'll say. And I also want to say the cinematography on the show is good. It was by Kumiko Sakamoto. It was photography, really good, especially in action scenes. Okay, before we wrap it up, we keep asking for questions, and at this point we haven't had any. So I'm going to start the questions. And next episode, Matt's going to ask me a question.
Okay.
So I have an envelope. You haven't seen it. I'll have you open it right now.
Okay.
I thought I'd make it fun. I didn't want to tell you because I think it'd be more fun to play on the spot. Yeah.
What are my top 3 anime series?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
They don't have to be top 3 if you want to say 3 of your favorite at least. But I figure since we watched an anime, it would help to have the question relate to that.
Ghost in the Shell standalone complex.
Mm-hmm.
One Piece.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I'll go Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Okay, cool. I'm sure you know what mine are.
Yeah.
My top 3 are Monster, Death Note, and Dr. Stone. Three solid shows that movie-wise, maybe like Ghost in the Shell would be there, but I'm looking at anime series, which is what I asked you.
That's why I said standalone complex, because that show is so freaking good.
Which I might watch by myself, but we might watch for the episode at some point. But yeah, Monster, Death Note, and Dr. Stone, three solid shows. Monster, I recommend to you all the time. It's so good. But yeah, I thought that'd be a fun question.
Yeah, that's definitely a fun question.
Yeah. So, depending on what the theme of the next movie we watch is, you'll have to think of a question in regards to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Anything else?
No.
Okay.
I think we're good.
Okay.
Except for the socials.
Okay.
You can email us, and please do, at franchiseconnectionpodcast@gmail.com. Questions.
If you've seen Lazarus and you loved it, and maybe you want to give us a perspective of why we should see it in a different way, let us know. Yeah.
And you can contact us and follow us on Instagram at @the_franchise_connection@instagram.com.
Yep. Let us know what you're watching, how we're doing, and you got
any feedback.
Yeah. Any suggestions of what we should check out? Anime, TV, movies. We're trying to branch out a lot with our watches. All right. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for tuning into a review for Lazarus. Come back next time when we return to the 24th century for our next franchise watch with the Star Trek The Next Generation movies.
Okay.
Until franchise fatigue sets in, I'm Matt Fisher.
I'm Matt Sparrow.
For the Franchise Connection. Bye.
Bye.